The UFL Gambling Podcast Week 8 reaction show episode and power rankings is brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and Underdog Fantasy. Yes, you can win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter with Underdog Fantasy. Pick 'em. Sign up today with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by the Mega Memorial Day merch sale. Yes, 15% off everything in the SGPN merch store with the promo code SGPN May. And remember, as always, folks, too, let it ride.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Football is a unique American experience. A game described by one turn-of-the-century critic as crude and barbaric, with little chance of survival. But survive it did.
I don't give a damn who you are. This is America, Jack. You know how to play Buenos Aires football? Wait, I don't get it.
Being played in the United States Football League.
We sometimes forget that football, being the consummate team sport, is a great deal more successful when you do play as a unit and don't rely on individual talent. Frankly, I'm impressed with the USFL.
America, this league is good for America, and football is a sport that is made for television.
That is football.
I'm like, spring football is going to work in America.
You play to win the game. And now it is time for our USFL report.
There, we're back on the UFL Gambling Podcast Week 8 reaction show, recap show, whatever you want to say, and power rankings. Don't forget about these power rankings. Folks, you can watch this show. Go to youtube.com/@UFL Gambling Pod. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, because we're going to be here for years to come. All right. With or without the league, we're going to be here for years to come. If you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Kobe Swinging Database Dan, AKA Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
We had 4 games. I had 3-1, but I lost my largest wager. So I don't know what the fuck to talk about this thing. One game I felt super good about. Lost that money, but I hit the other 3. Which I bet every single one of them. I bet you know me. I am joined by this guy right here. All right, he is the host of the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. They call him the man in the box. He had some other golf name that was great too. I can't remember it. And,
Scumbagger Vance.
Scumbagger Vance. There he is. Yes. Better known as the bet detective, CJ Sullivan. How you doing, buddy?
Great, Dundee. Thank you. As always, the laddie daddy as well. Yeah, fantastic. Good, weekend of whatever. Of slop. We'll talk about it all on air, on content. All UFL is the last meaningful game for a while, it seems like, happened this weekend.
Well, I don't get the cold.
Yeah.
I did try to warn everyone about Arlington, though.
Those filthy pieces of shit. You shut them out the whole second half. If you just tried in the first half, you win the game. And as Helms22 said in the chat, Arlington, what a crock of shit. 4th and inches. You hand it off 4 yards back. Could just do a quarterback sneak. We are joined by third man in the booth, the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. Get on over there and subscribe to that thing. Give it up for J Mark, aka Justin. Mark, how you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. Just saw some news flash across that it was just typical UFL shit. The Panthers could technically still have home field advantage in the playoffs, right? Wrong. They just informed their season ticket holders that they cannot hold the USFL championship at Ford Field because it's booked for Wayne Community College's graduation. So there's no way they can have home field advantage.
Wayne Field's high school graduation, you said, or college?
Wayne
Community
State.
College.
I know Wayne State there in Detroit.
Wayne County
right?
Community College.
Wayne County Community College. That's not Wayne State.
No.
Can't they have both at the same time? Kind of like, you know what I mean? Like at the field for graduation.
We'll give you a Nerf UFL ball when you come in.
Like there's kid like basketball tournaments and wrestling tournaments. There's like 6 going on at the same time. We gotta have the graduation.
So
we gotta have a UFL championship game.
Wait, so let me get this straight. The only possible thing that we could be, left that could be intriguing in the regular season is who gets home field. Could it be San Antonio? Could it be St. Louis? Could it be Birmingham? Could it be Michigan? No, that's off the table.
Yeah,
Birmingham, Michigan. It's in Birmingham now.
Yep.
What a fucking! How do you not clear this before this even happens?
Wow! Look at
they
the
didn't
chat.
expect to make the playoffs.
Yeah, or they didn't expect to get to week 10. I think that's more realistic.
Yeah, the entire league full of shit. Look at the look at the chat. Sean Green in the chat says, "Great call on Art to coming in hot to troll the UFL show." Here he does. Here he is. He poaches our talent to bring to the main show to give his picks, and then he brings nothing to the table, complains that it's bare, and then swear. What's Nicholson's speech? I have no time for anyone who questions my authority, and then questions on how I provide it.
I mean, what are we doing here? What are we?
Although you should have brought me on, Sean. I said San Antonio, by the way.
We should bring on Sean Green to run the goddamn league, because I guarantee you this.
He got something done. I'll tell you that with the press pass for sure.
Well, I'll tell you this. I guarantee you he'd think about, hey, can we have the playoffs? Well, this is a blessing in disguise, though, because let's be honest. It's a blessing in disguise for 1, the league, 2 for Pick Dundee, because games and domes are horrible. But
for
the league,
for Pick Dundee, more importantly.
Ford Field looks so goddamn empty. It looks so goddamn empty. You need it in Birmingham. You need it anywhere but Memphis, Arlington, Houston, and Detroit. So, okay, worked out a little bit there. What'd you make of the weekend? Money's talking shit too. I went 3-1, buddy. All right. Now, it was the best play. My favorite play was Arlington.
Right.
But,
well, I will say this. And J Mark, I thought the news you're going to break was the Toa news. Then Peyton Hillis, who's out, not Peyton Hillis, Wes Hills for Michigan, out for the year. So
I like to call him Peyton Hillis too.
Yeah, so they re-signed the White Warrior. So it's all. They re-signed him, so that'll be good.
Bigger attendance, Wayne State graduation or the Panthers playoff?
Panther playoff game, yeah, easily Wayne State.
State's dominating. Minus, I would say 3,000.
Yeah,
minus 3.
Their communications department alone, just absolute in a walk. What I thought about the weekend is congratulations on your 3-1. A couple of those games just came down to extra points. That's what this fucking league is. How Memphis got that cover, I don't know. Whatever, they played the game, but then they went for 3. I was excited. We had 8.5, go for 6. Of course, they don't get it. Same thing with St. Louis. I had 5.5. That came down. I waited till they did the AJ McCarron news. They're up by 5. They go for 2. I get why they go for 2. You just know it's just sometimes it's just no way. I haven't checked the numbers, but the conversion rate must be around 6% of all these goddamn extra points, and that's what all these lines come down to is the extra points. Before you toot your 3-1 horn.
That is true. I am 3-1 though. You filthy bastard. All right. And look, I want to tell the people out there you're listening to the UFL Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Look, it's the biggest week in racing. I don't know if you guys saw this. We had a nice little fight Nice little old school fight in NASCAR. Just
the best part
guys.
the best part about that fight was that guy waited like 3 hours because there's no exit round. He was out in the second lap and he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to sit here till this is over with." He watched the whole race in the pit, waiting just to punch him in the face. That's great.
And the fact he's like, "Go check the tape. Go check the tape," and then he makes a decision. You know what? Fuck checking the tape. I'm punching you in the face.
Yeah. I didn't sit
let's
here.
Go.
Yeah, I sat here for 3 hours. I checked the tape, and I don't give a shit about the tape.
But look, the race world's heating up. You got the Indy 500 going on. I watched the qualifying here by accident because one of the UFL games ran over, I think, right? And then you got the Monaco Grand Prix, which you haven't seen that. That's just a great setting. Go check out that. And you got the Coke 600. And Rod and Cody from the NASCAR Gambling Podcast and the Formula One Gambling Podcast, the F1 Gambling Podcast, have you covered. Make sure to join their Kyle Larson diecast car giveaway. It's free to enter, folks. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/race to register and make sure to subscribe to the NASCAR Gambling Podcast and Formula One Gambling Podcast. Plus, we're running a mega Memorial Day merch sale. We got spring football t-shirts, spring football guide t-shirts, 15% off everything in the merch store with the promo code SGPN May. Look, Stadium Heads, I'm hosting this podcast. Stadium Heads, there's that. There's SGP. You want to get yourself a Bet Detective t-shirt. You know, so we're working on the Scumbagger Vance t-shirts, but the Bet Detective t-shirt's available. Yeah. Old-fashioned football. I mean, like J-Mark's heading to the Ozarks for a reason. All right. He wore that old-fashioned football podcast, and out of the blue, someone's like, "You look like a guy that's just a quality guy. Why don't you spend the weekend in the Ozarks?" Right? Boom. Get yourself an old-fashioned football podcast t-shirt there, and also subscribe to all those feeds. All right, we're back on the UFL Gambling Podcast, and look, I mean, you know what bothers me about the league?
That should be the name of the show.
A lot.
I don't understand why. Like, the whole fucking year, Lindsey Scott should have been on the field more, right? Like, that's someone I think you can market the league around. Look, in the XFL, they fabricated some bullshit trade a year ago. They should have looked at Lindsey Scott and said, "You know what? Put him in Houston or put him in somewhere. Get him somewhere where he's going to start every week." And then the Michigan situation. What? Why is Bryce Perkins and I don't, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make, like, we've now have 2 weeks of data where you can just sit there and watch, and it's just it's obvious.
I will say it's about Lindsey Scott. Did you see the video that they released today?
No.
The funniest video of the year of the UFL. Lindsey Scott, he was mic'd up, and the play where he fumbled, he said he was on the sideline talking to the coach. He's like, and they showed a play. He's running it, and they're ripping at the ball, and he's talking shit to defenders like, "You ain't getting this, motherfucker," you know, all this thing. And then they ripped him at the end, and he goes, "Oh shit, I got it." As he's going down, the ball comes out, and he's mic'd up. He goes, "Oh shit, he got it." It's pretty funny. Lindsey Scott's hilarious. He's my new favorite quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, you could have really marketed him around that. But let's talk about this.
That's what I mean. But that goes to your point. He's a star. Get him out there. Help your league out, and he's good.
Well, you know another one. You're telling me Bryce Perkins was just available?
I know. Bryce Perkins. The Bryce Perkins parade it's amazing.
No, makes sense of this fucking thing to me. You saw him last week look pretty much unstoppable last week when he threw the ball. Like, there was only 2 incompletions. Now, they didn't need to throw the ball that much, so I understand. But how the work you started over him this week, he goes 7 of 9 for 106 yards, 12 yards of completion. Do you know how, folks, dive into yards per completion, because let me tell you, all these quarterbacks suck at throwing the ball down the field. All right. With the exception to Adrian Martinez, with the exception to Bryce Perkins and AJ McCarron, the rest of the league averages like 4 yards of completion. When you get someone that, and he's done this back-to-back weeks where it's been, you know, a high number and very little incompletions. Like I said, 80% both weeks or better. It doesn't make any sense to me. He also had 9 rushes for 55 yards. If he's not starting next week, well, I don't even know. I guess they clinched and there's nothing to play for now. So I guess you don't start him. I don't know. But what'd you make of this game? Because Michigan's like with Bryce Perkins, they're a legit contender to win the championship.
For sure. And I think, I mean, you're right. You've been obviously tooting the Bryce Perkins.
But he was out there all year.
Parade.
This is what I'm talking about, is the failure to recognize talent.
Yeah, I know. They're doing the 2 quarterback system. And, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have any. But it's, like I said, they play conservative, I think, because it was Memphis almost. Like they didn't want to lose the game. I'm tilted because they didn't cover that 8.5. I don't know. They're a little above mid. I don't know. I don't understand what they're doing with Lewerke out there. He just doesn't look good. It's a completely different team with Perkins out there. Colburn looked great again.
Yeah, he's coming on. He's coming on because the passing offense opens up, and then when you add Perkins's run capability, they're really like a 3-headed monster in a way. Now
the defense looked vulnerable a little bit. Cookus was kind of lighting them up a little bit.
Well, the defense isn't as good. They've suffered a lot of injuries, man. So it's not as good as it was in week 1 or 2. But how the fuck was Perkins available? That's what I'm saying, though. It doesn't make any sense that you could just have a guy this good just sitting out there and nobody in the league. It makes me question all of their front offices, minus Birmingham, because they're the only one that I guess shouldn't be looking for a backup. But I don't know. To me, it's like Memphis, fire everybody in Memphis, fire everyone in Houston, fire everyone. Fire the whole league except Birmingham. J Mark, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I know some of the guys, they kind of hold out that hope that they're going to get some camp invites for the NFL right around draft time. So it's possible he and his agent were waiting for that before they agreed. He might have gotten calls beforehand, but I thought Love was going to come in this game and kind of win the game for Memphis. He looked good within like the first 4 passes.
Revenge game.
It looked kind of like the same guy. No. That,
See, he went 9 of 12, 75%, but 4 yards of completion. That's my point. Yeah. Every other quarterback normally can't throw the ball down the field.
But he drove him down immediately.
He did.
Yeah.
Josh Love, immediately touchdown. Perfect. I'm like, here comes the revenge game. I don't know if Michigan even remembers that he played for him, but he did.
They try not to think about it. I agree with you. Perkins should be the starter. It's clear to see he's a lot better than Lewerke. So I don't know why they keep rolling them both out there. And then
he looks like potentially the best quarterback in the league. Like if you add up both of his performances, he has like 4 incompletions where one of them was like a offensive PI on an 80-yard touchdown. And when you add the running element to me, like that's what I'm saying is like there's great value in taking Michigan to win the championship. Now I do think the defense is not as good, but the offense certainly before they couldn't run the ball. When they had EJ Perry, they couldn't run the ball, right? And they couldn't pass down the field. He could the short passing game was what they did, and they didn't do that very well. Then once he gets injured, Etling comes in and they pass the ball down the field a little bit, and they opened up the run for a game or two. But with Perkins, when you add that run element, he's the best of all 3, or all 4. And I just think they're much more dynamic. It could really strike fear in teams' defenses in this league. So I don't know. I think they're like, it's worth taking a shot on the future for them, especially now that, but I guess they're not going to get the home game, but who cares, right?
Yeah. They are currently 9-1, or when I looked earlier this morning, they were 9-1. I'm curious to see how they'll match up against the Stallions. Probably not week 10 because neither team will probably care about that game, but in the playoffs because the Stallions got a guy that's similar in Adrian Martinez that can help them prepare for a guy that is a dual threat like Perkins.
Yeah. Memphis was one of the biggest disappointments. They still couldn't run the ball, just 2.5 yards a rush. That's really, they have the worst. I don't know. Arlington's offensive line looked horrible, and we'll get to that, but this offensive line was horrible. I was going to
say, Vinny Papali with a gentleman's stat line. 5 catches, 25 yards, 5 a pop. Not an inch further, not an inch shorter.
That must have been Josh Love, coming in the game. Hey, I'll get you the ball, Vinny.
Vinny Papali. Hey, we're not going to do nothing. No, they're terrible. The fact that they covered was a miracle.
Well, really, it's pathetic because we thought that roster coming into the year. Obviously we had Birmingham power ranked number 1, but I did think Memphis was one of the better rosters. Now, hard to know the offensive line and that being that bad, but I still put a lot of this on DeFlippo. I think DeFlippo is not a very good spring football coach. So we'll see if they make any change. I know there's still 2 more weeks of this, but that's what's hilarious is you can't fire him now. This league had real value. You'd fire him now and try an interim. Why not give Carnell Lake the reins, right?
Yeah,
CJ, your boy Carnell Lake.
He's proven the ranks. Why not? Congratulations, Carnell Lake, though, for keeping a team under 30 points for the first time.
Go. There we go.
Congratulations.
Look, we're going to get to the next game, folks. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the UFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, the NBA playoffs are here at our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pickup game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and much, much more. You can make entries of all basketball players there. You build up your whole roster with basketball players, or you can mix and match across your favorite sports. Add some MLB, some NHL, just load up UFL. There we go. You can win up to 100 times the amount of money you make, and it's a ton of fun. Underdog's available in 30 different states, including California and Texas and the great country of Canada. So what are you doing? Hop on over there, sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN, to claim your special pick plus first time deposit, all for up to $250 in bonus cash. And don't forget, they just launched Champions, their player to player format in the state of Florida. So what are you doing, folks? Hop on over there, underdogfantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. All right, we are back and we are ready to roll. Talking about the next game here. Shout out to Sam Pierce in the chat. Stallions, Roughnecks. I sprinkled the money line just in case, and I did have a DFS lineup just in case with Adrian Martinez, who had 5 touchdowns. Good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, the Stallions look like they weren't even trying and they won. Did you guys get that same feel from this game?
I mean, yeah, obviously the motivation was a factor. I mean, Houston scored for the first time all year. Congratulations to them. I'm getting Nolan Henderson in there running things up. What the hell? What are you talking about? Your JD Holzer? I mean, Thompson, of course, looked good. I was actually impressed with Houston, but yeah, Birmingham had nothing to play for. But Martinez, if you don't have Martinez in your DFS lineup, what are you doing? Basically, I try to get too cute with the Perkins, with your boy Perkins.
I did too. It was frustrating because you're like, hey, if Perkins plays the whole game, you give him all those snaps, he probably puts up a great number. But old Mike Nolan can't count on him.
I wonder if they will play I mean, they can't play Martinez going further, right? I mean, or is it a league?
Well, especially now they know it's in Birmingham,
right? There's a league like they said where they were like, they're trying to put stuff on tape every week where they can't sit down. But I mean, if they're talking about trying to win a championship, I don't see how you play Martinez at all.
Or how about this? You're trying to be the first undefeated team since the 72 Dolphins in pro football.
And you could do that with Corral, right?
Yeah, definitely. You could do that with Jamar Smith too.
I think it's just as hard. I think actually there's always, they talk about the 72 Dolphins, whatever, and playing 14 games against a bunch of plumbers and shit. I think that's the equivalent of today's UFL. I think if the Dolphins play the Birmingham Stallions.
I do think Adrian Martinez is better than Bob Greasy. I'll tell you, I'm on record for that right there.
Yeah, absolutely. See, I'll take CJ Marbley over Zonk. Are you fucking kidding me? At least over Mercury Morris. For God's sakes.
Yeah. There we go. All right. And Nick, what's his name? Connie. May he rest easy.
May him and his paralyzed kid rest easy.
Damn, dude. I didn't even know. I didn't realize that.
That's the thing. He'd always, but you could tell he hated him. Nick Bonacotti. He was one of those dads. Here's my son. I'm real proud. Yeah. Motherfucker.
I appreciate that. He's competitive. You gotta be competitive.
This is the XFL hot take commentary.
Now, how about see, this is what I'm talking about. Reed Sennett passed for a cool 99 yards, 46%. This is what I'm talking about. When you watch these leagues, and we've had 4 straight years of these spring leagues. Actually, you can even go further to the AAF and the XFL before COVID.
Right.
My point is, I dive into all those numbers. No one ever throws the ball. Very rarely. Every once in a while, like a game here or there, someone will average like 10 yards of completion, right? But you don't normally have that mixed with throwing at 80% completion percentage. So most of the league is like anywhere from like 4 to 7.5 or 8, right? Mm-hmm. So when you have Bryce Perkins just walk out there. You have Adrian Martinez just walk out there, or AJ McCarron's. Those three, even McCarron's, I think you could actually exclude him because he has had games where he only throws for like 4 yards of completion. But the other two, it tells me that they're way better than everyone else in the league. 46%. They brought in Nolan Henderson. He did go 64%, but
Nolan Henderson looked good.
6 yards of completion, solid.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they put Senate back in to get. Did you see that final play? Was amazing, by the way. Jesus Christ! They're driving down there, timeout in the 20. Our boy Curtis, coach is calling everyone in. You know, hey, you line up all over. No one's listening to him. Senate calls his own play. All right, whatever, Curtis. You're gonna do this. Okay, you're gonna do this. You're gonna go over there. All right, receivers are. What's he saying? Don't listen. And then he just immediate sack. Thanks.
Dude, let's
way to dial one up, Curtis.
Who's the biggest joke in the whole entire league? It's got to be Curtis, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was hilarious. The fucking Mike shit.
He said one thing that it's the first thing he said that it's like that made me think he is paying attention to the games.
Mm-hmm.
But he said we put in a lot of effort. We just always beat ourselves, which that's not the only reason they're losing. But in this game, I mean, they made some stupid mistakes. They had a chance at winning this.
Oh, they only got outgained by 10 yards, man. If you tell me that coming into it.
It was a toss up this game. There was all the way through, even though they scored late, whatever. Like they had, of course, they easily could have won this game.
That offsides on the punt. Are you kidding me? Come on.
I know. He says we beat ourselves, meaning me. They listen to me, my coaching. They should not listen to me at all. That's how we beat ourselves.
Yeah, and our boy Marcus Thompson broke off like a 40-yard run or something at some point.
Ever since he pulled a Larry David and said I quit and just came back to work, no show, no explanation, nothing. He's been great.
Yeah. Now the over did hit for me there. Now I ate shit on the under in the Showboats, or I'm sorry, I took the over on the Showboats Panthers. That game went under, but the over did hit for me here. And the 16 or 16 and a half. What's that?
Oh, just speaking of the Twitter running back, as soon as the game was over, he had to tweet out that he might have the most broken tackles and combined touchdowns, rushing and receiving, in this spring ball shit with the least amount of games played. It's too easy, but football is a team sport. 11 versus 11 with coaches, trainers, and staff all needing to buy in and have a common goal of winning.
We got to get him on this show.
He also leads the league in retirement speeches. You know what I mean?
He's the best. That's an amazing all-in-one compass tweet there. You know what? It's all me out there. I'm the one who breaks all the tackles because nobody fucking blocks for me. But you know what? It's a team sport. We're all trying to achieve a goal. We're not doing it, obviously, because my teammates are terrible, and it's only me once again. If there's only a way someone could count who leads the league in the spring ball shit.
And then he's like, you know what? And I'm done.
Right.
He does the Brett Favre. See, he's trying to do the Brett Favre shit, but he doesn't realize that no one in the UFL cares. Well, maybe us three.
If we can get, I'm predicting, if we can get Marcus Thompson on this show, now the next final 2 weeks here before the playoffs, whatever, to air out about the league, it'll be the UFL gambling podcast version of Cat Williams on Club Shay Shay. I mean, he'll go scorched earth on UFL teams and all the players, and it'll light the UFL Spring Ball Football Podcast Network on fire.
Nothing is over. Nothing. You just don't turn it off.
There we go, folks. Look, we're going to talk about Sunday's fire action. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the UFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Rhythm. If you're betting on NBA player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm gives you a menu of the best player props for every single NBA playoff game, making it easier to go through and find the best props to put money on in seconds, essentially. So Rhythm's predictions are backed by over 3 years of data and a team of data scientists. CJ, I know you were applying for a role of a data scientist for NBA games. How's that going?
I am an NBA quant, if you will. I have an expert. I have an analytical dream of when NBA players will and will not give a shit. I was about to say, which is the most important stat in the NBA.
I call that the J.R. Smith rule.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But yes,
golf for J.R. Smith. He's part of the team Scumbagger Vance. He golfs in North Carolina.
That's true. He's at like North Carolina A&T right now, getting his
on a golf
degree.
ride.
Yeah. And look, CJ's part of the, not part of Rhythm's data scientist, but he is figured it out. He's a quat, so to speak. But think about that. They focus on fine tuning your algorithm, their algorithm and your algorithm to give you the best shot at winning. Rhythm pairs its predictions with player prop graphs to help feel even more confident in your picks, which, you can make from wherever, you know what I mean? You normally place your bets, or DFS picks. If you just want to do DFS, you can, whatever you want, they got it for you, from superstars to bench players. Rhythm finds the best player prop lines, all backed by AI data, without you needing to endlessly scroll through a sports book there. So what are you doing? Start a free 7-day trial and start winning with your NBA player props. With your NBA player props with Rhythm, that's RITHMM, available wherever you get your apps. All right, we're back on the UFL Gambling Podcast. Sorry, I was just thinking of something Curtis Johnson said. You guys,
we need a Curtis Johnson soundboard.
He needs his own podcast. All right.
Yeah. Well, we'll welcome Curtis Johnson open arms.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe we can get Marcus Thompson on one side, Curtis Johnson on the other. They could figure out.
That'd be a hot
there seems
show.
to be animosity between.
Yeah, that'd be a hot show. That'd be fucking Shannon Sharp and Skip or whatever. That'd be fucking
all day.
Two people that hate each other. I love
all
it.
Day. And so the defenders covered for me. I'm so much of a sharp bet detective. I know you're out on these defenders, but they fought hard.
They did, and they needed to win. They played like a team that needed to win. I just didn't think they were good enough to keep it close, even without AJ McCarron. I did wait to get a good. I guess it went off. That number fluctuated everywhere. We gave it out at 7 or whatever. I think it went off at 3.5. I got it at 5.5, so I lost. I had St. Louis. Came down to that 2-point conversion. But no, I was happy that DC played like that. But Jordan Tamu, of course, did Jordan Tamu things, as J. Mark would love to point out.
Can we talk about that?
Handed the game with some of those interceptions. They couldn't score touchdowns in the first half all year. That's what they've been doing. They've been moving the ball all year. They just can't score the touchdowns when they get down there. And you can't kick field goals in St. Louis no matter who the quarterback is.
No, but when they took the lead, all they needed was Greg Williams to stop them one time. And they were going to get the ball back and potentially win the game. But no, it didn't happen. But how about... But
why aren't they? That's another thing too. Go with the onsides. There's more punts and shit. Like, what are they doing? Really play like you need to win this game.
That's
you
true.
And do the 4th and 12.
And Jordan Tamu, by the way, 23 of 40, 57%, 4.9 yards of completion, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I rest my case. But how about the what I loved is you saw McClendon come in for the final play because Tamu got knocked out. It was like 4th and 15 or 4th and 14 or something. He throws a check down to the tight end who purposely fumbles it.
He gave a chance. Gave a crack
at it.
Did
you see the play from the blimp cam? The wideout's open. If he throws it
blimp
deeper.
Cam? I thought they played in a dome.
Not blimp cam, but like the you know what I'm talking about, like the
drone.
They showed the
overhead,
and it's like he's throwing the check down. The other guy is somewhat open. Is it a little riskier? Sure, but this is 4th down. This is what you got to do. Drove me crazy.
Now, as much as J. Mark hates Jordan Tamu personally and his family, I'm starting to feel bad for him getting knocked out each week here at the game. This is kind of getting ridiculous. I mean, they got to put him on ice for his health reasons, for crying out loud, with that O-line. Fuck it.
I think he's faking it personally. The Battlehawks, and how about this? I know we talked about this. I am going to put this feather in my fucking cap. All right.
All right.
Who broke the news that they're starting Brandon Long John Silvers? Was it you, J. Mark?
That was floating everywhere. I didn't break the news. Okay. That was floating.
I broke the news.
Yeah. Either way, you guys are all pieces of shit. I knew Manny Wilkins was better. All right. I'm like, why would you start Long John Silver over Manny Wilkins? He went to Arizona State with Bryce Perkins. All right. Now.
I mean, come on! You're questioning all these you're questioning all these moves at UFL. You just went down a whole list of why they would do that, because nobody knows what the hell they're doing out here.
That's true. Now he did go 9 of 18, 50%, 7 yards of completion, which is once again my point. But he ran for 80 yards, and that's why every team in this fucking league should have a mobile quarterback.
He brought a different element. I know that first pass was nice, and then that was
the dumbest logic to throw out some statue quarterback in a league with no offense. Every team should have a mobile quarterback and run the hell out of him.
I know, but with the weapons they had, I wouldn't mind them going Silvers. But I don't want a rushing quarterback with that St. Louis offense. I want someone who could hit Pearson.
Well, he's 1-0. All right.
Yeah, he's 1-0.
He's 1-0. All right.
He's 1-0. All right. They got outgained by 70 yards almost.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. DC's got to be. Well, those interceptions were vital. You know what I mean? You can't.
No, it was a classic Tamu game. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 200 yards. That's what he does. But
we got the cover.
You got the cover. No, they should have won the game. They played better, but they played with heart. I kind of feel bad for them. But good riddance. Get rid of them.
Yeah. I mean, so now we got J Mark. What'd you make? I know you're going to the Ozarks. You're going to probably stop by. Battlehawk practice. Give Tony Meatball a little tip. What'd you make of your Battlehawks?
Yeah, I mean the defenders should have beat them. They had no excuse not to win this game. It was a must-win. They're going against a backup quarterback. It's we've said it before, but it's very obvious that this is not the same team as last year. They're not even coached as well, it seems like.
Their roster lacks talent, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It does, yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, the Battlehawks got the job done. Credit to them. When the one man goes down, next one steps up. I did really enjoy the Tony Meatball when Battlehawks had the ball at the very end there. Tell the center not to score. Tell the center not to score.
Yeah, what?
The center doesn't have the fucking ball. Like, he's not running it. Why didn't you tell the running back not to score? That did crack me up. Tell the center not to score.
Yeah,
he's not going to. Don't worry.
Did he call a fumble Rooski? What's Tony Meatball talking about there? That's hilarious.
I hear there's rumors on the internets.
Steve said, "Can we get the bet detective on why it took till Friday to get the correct or you get the official lines? Where would bet detective you deep on this case?"
Yeah, we went over it actually on the Friday show when we got the lines, and it wasn't because of Jordan Tamu's status, that's for sure. It all hinges, like this entire league, on AJ McCarron and his children. Will his children be at the game? Will he be able to play? And
my theory, right?
What's that?
They were waiting for the paychecks to cash.
Right.
They're waiting for the paychecks to cash before so wait, DC's gonna be in St. Louis.
Exactly.
Okay, we got to set a line. We got to. Hey, Mike, set a line.
Did the check clear? Did they have a hotel? No, I really think I was wondering on AJ McCarron's status, and they hold the line for all the games. I don't know. That's just my theory. But that being said, how about the defense shutting down Sailors too? That was that was tilting. Yeah. He was on all my DFS lineups, and Wayne Gallman with an appearance.
So DC ends, pretty much. That's what's hilarious is like DC and Arlington stats. Like DC's is not they're not that far behind, but they lack talent, man. They have no receivers to me that really jump off screen. The run game's trash. Their offensive line's trash. Even the secondary's not as good as a year ago. So I don't know. They got to go back to the drawing board. Anyway, what anything else you want to talk about regarding this specific game here?
Ty Scott showed up for me.
Your boy.
Well, they put Harmon on the IR. That's why with the talent, the O-line looked better. Like, yeah, it's just recaps DC's. It's probably for the better that their season's done with now.
Yeah, and then the nightcap was Renegades Brahmas. This filthy game and hey, Anthony McFarland, who I still think looks like the best running back in the entire league. He had 118 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, this guy's got to be. He's got to demand a trade in the offseason, right?
Yeah, but what's his average break tackle per game for touchdown on his spring game nonsense over the last couple of years?
He was on the Steelers last year, I think. So,
yeah, that's his fault for not playing the spring. Win Mark Thompson on that one.
So Arlington shuts them out the second half. But look, I'm not gonna say I gave the right side of this.
Yeah, you can't get a W on this.
Dude, their offensive line got destroyed all game. all fucking game.
But that's what Wade Phillips' team does. That's what the son of a bum's team does. They got a good D-line that leads the league in sacks. And I told you they're going to get after him. And Perez, when he gets sacked, forget about it. That's it. He's just not good. What did they sack him 7 times? Was that?
Yeah. Well, a couple of those ones, he's got to get rid of the fucking ball. But yeah, they were still beat a bunch of times, and he got his ass whooped.
3 sacks. I'm sorry, but it seemed like it was a lot of hurries.
Yeah, he was getting his ass kicked left and right. Shout out to Jong, long-time listener. Says appreciate you guys recapping. He's going to give us credit. He's calling this a recap, CJ.
And I feel bad because I should have known. I'm so mad at myself for playing Perkins when I should have known this was a classic Dormandy stump at home
with all those scattered ass, all those girlfriends from high school in the stands
to an Arlington team that just absolutely quit. So we got our win. We're out of here. That was and Dormandy threw for 320 and 2 touchdowns.
And that 4th and 1 was very
terrible.
Annoying. Very annoying. very annoying.
I mean, that was the MO with this league last year. At least the XFL, the 4th and 1 conversions were horrible. Sean says the Eagles the only ones who could do a quarterback sneak. But even when they run the ball, they do like power rights with like a bunch of moving parts. Like, what are you doing? It's like
the only team I honestly trust to run the ball successfully is Birmingham. Michigan seems to be catching on to something but I still don't trust it fully yet.
Right.
I mean, I would have loved to seen the New Jersey Generals in this league because their offensive line was awesome in the USFL last year, and they had Trey Williams and the bowling ball from Towson. I'm trying to blank his name right now, but the Memphis running back. I know they have Trey Williams too. Darius Victor. So and I really think they could have helped this. I think they really fucked up. I know they were looking for markets, but they should be concerned about the quality of play because to me, having a team like that in this league, that they were very consistent. I know they didn't even win the championship, but they look good. When you watch them, they look like a good football team. I'm sorry. When you watch a lot of these teams, they don't look like good football. Even your teams like San Antonio throughout the year, and they've clinched the playoffs and they might even host. They haven't looked good to me. You watch games, you're just like, they don't look very good.
No.
But anyway,
that's why it would have been nice, sweet son of a bum justice because they've been living on the UFL rules this year and like getting exciting wins. But kind of as you would definitely say fraudulent if that would have happened to them this week because they dominated Arlington. They just destroyed. They outgained them by over 100 yards, but they had a chance of losing because of these rules. The way Arlington scored late, then they could have got that and pushed it back in.
Field goals in the second half too. They missed 2 field goals.
That helps. But look at the yardage. I mean, it just looked bad early on, but they could have got caught, but they didn't. This is what San Antonio does. They're living that charmed life,
and they've clinched. And so let's talk about this now. Well, first, J Mark, what'd you make of this game?
Yeah, I mean, it was disappointing to say the least because, I mean, last week we all said it. Arlington looked like one of the best teams, and then to come out and put this dud performance out was pathetic. But I mean, no matter how they're winning games, credit to the Brahmas for winning games. They're 6-2 now, and they got a place in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see how they stack up against the Battlehawks in the playoffs.
Yeah, hold on. So let's talk about the big issue for the league the next 2 weeks. So obviously,
big issue. That's a good segment. Up next, the big issue
in the UFL. So Birmingham's clinched home field, so you really only have the San Antonio Battlehawks angle. San Antonio plays Birmingham. The Battlehawks play the Renegades. I mean, I'm trying to get excited. I have to go to Washington, D.C. for a wedding this weekend, but I'm like, what's the game that we should be excited about watching here? It's got to be one of those two because the other two, who cares, right? Like, the Defenders Showboats, they're both out.
It's that one.
and Michigan Houston is irrelevant now.
Yep.
So it's got to be one of the Saturday games. I guess it's if Birmingham can go undefeated. I think I
don't know.
Is that the most interesting? Like, I'm try to sell me. If you're working for the UFL, if you're working for Fox or ESPN, what's the angle you're doing to try to promote this?
Yeah, I know they painted themselves in a corner with this. You would think they would add I don't know. I don't know if you could add playoffs or whatever, or wild card, some kind of play-in situation with a toilet bowl. I don't know. You know what I mean?
They should do that though.
Yeah, I mean, some kind of consolation tournament or something going on.
That's what I liked about Vince McMahon's original XFL idea was they had the $1 million game. You remember that?
Yeah, it's the $1 million game.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's have them play for actual cash and sitting out there on the sideline. You know,
I think it'd be great. Be great to do that. But yeah, I think it's a hard sell. Here we are. We got Memorial Day weekend. I think their numbers are going to be pretty horrible this weekend. I don't know.
Yeah.
J Mark, is there one that stands out to you?
Like you said, seeing if the Stallions can go undefeated. The league is already trying to spin to keep getting some, I guess, attention. Where I saw a big story, I think it was from Fox Sports, about Luis Perez trying to make his NFL comeback. You know, and that's what it's all going to be about. These teams that, hey, you know, they're not playing for anything, but these guys on the field, they are playing for something, and they're trying to get tape and all that. I heard a couple announcers. These guys are just trying to get tape now.
That's what a great sales pitch that is. Come watch guys get tape.
Agreed. But no, I think there should be a toilet bowl, and the loser of the toilet bowl is out of there. Sea Dragons are up next or something. Like,
yes, there we go.
Well, here's the problem.
100%.
Like, I would say it'd be compelling to see who would get the first pick, but they're so bad at judging talent. I almost think the first pick is going to be a horrible pick. If you got people like Bryce Perkins, who was it the year before that they just picked up off the streets? It was like, I think Birmingham. Birmingham picked up, it was like, Scarborough. Scarborough, they just picked up off the streets. And you're like, what the fuck? He's better than the whole league. You're telling me he was just out there. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I could say, like, if you're a Memphis fan, you're like, hey, maybe we'll get the first pick, but there's nothing really compelling about that, I don't think.
No, I like J Mark's idea. Relegate this team, and let's just get the other teams that are just sitting there practicing the whole time. I'm hoping Danucci is just warming up the entire time.
All right, let's do our power rankings and get the hell out of here.
Sounds
all right. Good. I mean, mine changed a little bit because San Antonio, the way their defensive line looked. I remember I had them at 7th last week, and they moved up. They moved up
a little disrespectful for a playoff team.
They moved up a little bit, just a little bit. At number 8, I have the Memphis Showboats. CJ?
Can agree. Memphis Showboats. Where I've had them all year, even when they were 1-0.
J Mark, who do you got at number 8?
Showboats as well.
At number 7, I have the Houston Roughnecks. CJ? DC. He's got fucking DC at 7.
No, I don't, but I do have our most fluctuated team in our power rankings this year, the polarizing Arlington Renegade champions. I've dropped them all to 7 because just because the way they quit like that again, you know what I mean? Like, they're better than some of these teams that I have above them, but at least I know those guys are going to put some efforts in. Arlington, they're going to do something like that. Like, they look pathetic when they just don't care. And they rallied a little bit at the end, like, while we're out here, we might as well
How
try
about
to do
those
something.
penalties, by the way? How about those stupid fucking penalties? They had him punting. It's I don't know. Don't get me started. But
Stoops is not your disciplinarian, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's completely on vacation. He's like trying to pull a George Clooney. He's got his tequila company. He's pushing everywhere. J Mark, who do you got at 7?
I have DC. Must-win game. Couldn't beat a backup quarterback. I know it was in the Battle Dome and all that, but you got to win those games.
Hater. He's just a fucking hater.
He hates the family of Tamu. He hates their whole generations of them.
At number 6, I do have DC, so we're only one spot off there. Look, they lack talent. They lack talent all throughout the roster, and it shows. Bet Detective, who do you got at 6?
I go Houston 6. I know they played a great effort.
He's back on DC. He's back on DC.
I'm not back on D. I thought DC. I thought they looked better than they have all year. Actually, they know they didn't win the game. They should have, but at least they had some kind of semblance. They were moving the ball. They had some mistakes. I mean, I would take DC over Houston. Houston played their game of the season, obviously, and it's very impressive, almost beating Birmingham, a disinterested Birmingham team. I can't neglect what Houston was doing before that, just not scoring 12.
No, DC's better than Houston. I'm with you. DC's better than Houston. Who do you got at number 6 there, J Mark?
I have Houston at 6.
So he says Houston's better than DC.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all do.
No, not me. Not me.
Okay.
I'm on Team DC here.
All right. You have DC 5?
No, I had him at 6.
Oh, that's right. Where did you have Houston?
7.
Oh, you did. Okay, fair enough.
At 5, I got Arlington because they're talented. They may be ass.
Yeah.
But God damn it, they look good sometimes. All right.
They do look good at times. No, trust me. We had them. I think I had them 3 last week. Flubbing them down to 7. They scored 47 points, for crying out loud. I got DC finally at 5, so not the bubble. I mean, it's not a lot of separation between 5, 6, and 7 for me, but whatever. Pull a plug on them. Pull a plug on them.
J Mark, who do you got at 5?
I've got the Renegades at 5.
Yeah, there we go. We're eye to eye there. At number 4, I have this cockamamie San Antonio Brahma team with all their garbage fucking wins.
Yeah.
Makes me want to puke thinking about my list, having them at 4. But you have to. I think you have to.
Come on now.
Come on, boy. We won.
Just watching him cheer. Yeah, he gets told we won. All right. The double arm grandpa celebration is great. He should have number 1 grandpa coach t-shirt on his shirt, whatever. They just put him in outfits, those yellow outfits. I love it. Son of a bum, a 4, and I might get in on a little future on them.
Oh boy, let's go. All right. Especially if Normandy locks up home field in front of all that scattered ass. He's gonna throw for a big number against some Battlehawks, if so. J Mark.
And if McCarron can't play, who knows?
Yeah, imagine if he's out for the year.
Easily could be that. I mean, he said he broke his ankle.
But
I mean, he didn't.
Same time, San Antonio's not any good. They'll lose to all these other teams. They can lose to anybody, any time.
Arlington wasn't good.
That's true. They were actually great, but they were 1-7.
No, they're Arlington is better this year than they were last year when they won the
100%. 100%. I don't care what anybody says.
Right.
They look way better this year than last year. J Mark, who you got a 4?
Yeah, I got the Brahmas. I can't put them above any of the other 3 teams, so they slot in at 4.
Number 3, I got the St. Louis Battlehawks, and I'll tell you what, with this injury, I'm looking pretty goddamn smart because I had them at number 3 last week too. And I feel pretty confident that right now, well, Michigan did beat them head to head with their, and that was back when Michigan had their shitty team. All right. Before they started picking up all these winners. Yeah, I think they're number 3. CJ, where are you going at 3?
I got Michigan.
Don't you do it. Oh, you fucking.
No, I got Michigan at 3, same as last week. Listen, I know McCarron will be back. They benched him. The game really meant nothing. I mean, yeah, it meant something. They still got the victory, even though they were outplayed. I want Michigan to be better. They're just not, and they won't.
McCarron's 0-1 against Michigan. I don't know if you know that.
All right. I mean, I know that. I remember the 75-yard field goal, and they got him the victory. The face of the league. I understand
and that was before they could pass the ball. Matt Colburn didn't even play that game either.
Okay, I get it, but
all right.
I'm saying, but
they didn't have Nakua's brother on that fucking roster.
But that Michigan defense was better back then too.
That's true. Gendis gone now.
Yeah, I wasn't really impressed with them last week. I wasn't. Overly impressed even with that win versus a bad DC team. It was kind of like bad DC, but like I said, they're good. They're number 3. You still got to give St. Louis some credit.
There's a reason why. There's a reason why they played the games. But J Mark, who do you got at number 3 there?
CJ, we can't let him use that argument of, but they beat the Battlehawks, because he was arguing against the people on Reddit that the Battlehawks were better. Well, it took a 64-yard field goal. It doesn't count. So we can't let him use that argument.
They didn't have Bryce Perkins, best player in the league. All right. They didn't have Matt Colburn. They didn't have Samson Nakua. All right. They upgraded this team. This Michigan Panther team they're wheeling out looks like fucking Dream Team 2, not number 1, but Dream Team 2. So I think
Butler wasn't dominating at the time like he is now. I mean, it doesn't matter what happened then. I have Panthers at 3 as well.
Unbelievable.
And we can't be going.
What are you guys watching? What the fuck are you guys watching each week?
Well, we can't be going head to head. I mean, who else did Michigan lose to? I know they lost to Birmingham.
San Antonio. They lost to.
Okay. They're highly ranked. They're a playoff team. They're
you know who played that game?
I know they're your 7th team.
You know who played that game though? Etling.
And
Perry. Perry. That's when Perry got injured.
All right, let's move on.
Anyway, number 1, Birmingham. How big's the gap? How big's the gap between Birmingham and the rest of the league?
I mean, I'm not saying there's holes with Birmingham. I mean, obviously motivation's kind of a deal, but they've played some close games recently for sure. You know, I mean, like it's not head and shoulders the way it clearly is where they're just stomping and forcing their will on people.
J Mark?
I think it's huge. I think it's a big gap.
Yeah, I tend to think so too. But I will say this: they got to get healthy in the secondary. Secondaries, we'll see when those guys come back. But yeah, I mean, it didn't look like they were trying to me last week. Looked like they were fucking around.
But still, losing to Houston, I don't care how you're not fucking around, is not something that looks good on any resume.
True.
But they didn't. But yeah,
they did not lose the game. No, but you know they had a tight one with St. Louis. They had a tight one with DC. They've had some close calls, but yeah, I mean obviously they're better than anyone. But I don't think it's like an NFL team playing against the graduating class of.
Wouldn't it have been crazy if the only 2 wins of or the only 2 losses for the Stallions were against Curtis Johnson the last 2 years? That would have been a crazy stat.
Yeah.
Well, then you find out that he was on like Skip Holt's staff at like fucking UConn or something. You know what I mean? It's just a sympathy play. Folks, that's our show. Get on over to iTunes. Give us a 5-star review already. We really recapped these games this week. All right. So get on over there. Give us a 5-star. Subscribe, youtube.com/@UFL Gambling Pod. Make sure you check out the Bet Detective and the Bottom Line Bombs podcast. What are you guys tackling this week, buddy?
This week obviously there was the end of the national nightmare of Knicks fans. Finally, they're out of our lives. We don't have to hear them fucking being absolutely insane. They're cocky, they're arrogant, they're loud. They're like Yankee fans, but without all the titles, you know? Finally. So thank you, Indiana Pacers. Our country owes you a favor. Deep set of gratitude or whatever.
Yeah, you got any leans on the Indy 500, CJ?
I have not yet checked out the Indy 500.
J Mark, go check out his podcast, the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. What do you guys got coming up on that?
Doing all our division previews and then best bets within each division. And we'll have guests for each division. So come check out what they say about it too.
There we go. Check out the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. I host the Stadium Heads podcast. Myself, Michael Barker, talking college football stadiums and also the college football experience, which is about to break down 134 college football teams with a solo episode for each and every one, as well as the FCS college football experience and the CFL gambling podcast with J Mark, which we had already dropped a futures episode. We plan to drop a conference preview or division, division by division over the next like 10 days. So check out the CFL Gambling Podcast. And like I said, CJ's on Twitter at CJ Sullivan _. J Mark's on Twitter at JMarkFootball. I'm on Twitter at DColbyD. The UFL Gambling Podcast is on Twitter at UFL Gambling Pod. Subscribe. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. And till next time, folks, this is the UFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. Run and shoot.